Hello, good morning. It is Morning Coffee with Steve, episode 224 for Thursday, November 21st, 2024. I'm Steve Saylor. This is your daily gaming show, or daily show of gaming news, accessibility news, or updates about my life. I've got my iced coffee from McDonald's today because I felt like it. I really just felt like it. I don't know why. Anyway, I don't need to explain myself. I actually kind of woke up this morning and I was actually felt kind of good. I felt like great about just, not necessarily just about like what I get to do today, but just like, oh man, I actually felt like a good night's sleep. So I'm very happy about that. I'm going to jump into the news pretty much right away because there's quite a few stories I kind of wanted to cover. So remember when I said that, you know, there's not a lot of news stories? Well, there's news stories that happened that I definitely wanted to talk about. So we're going to jump right into that. Actually, I just realized I did not set up my news thing for today. Yep, there it is. The window's gone. There we go. Okay, cool. First story of the day. Star Wars Outlaws removing stealth from almost all quest objectives. Now, I feel like that this title is a little misleading. I think it should also say, it should technically say removing required stealth from all quest objectives. Because let me explain. This is coming from Jordan Miller at VGC. The game, which was released earlier this year, initially it featured several sections where players would receive a game over screen. Sorry. It's just weird that how it just labeled it's game over, but anyway, where players will receive a game over screen if they were spotted by an enemy, even if they had a chance to escape without an alarm being raised. This was met with backlash from players and critics. However, now the game's creative director has said that these objectives are being changed. Drew Reckner, the game's new creative director, said player choice has always been a core focus of Star Wars Outlaws, but after listening to your feedback, we've realized there's more we can do to give you even greater freedom. Restrictions like do not raise the alarm or do not get caught in quests were forcing players into stealthy play styles, limiting the ability to choose whether to use combat or not. As a result, some quests could feel frustrating or unfair. We also found that detection mechanics could be unpredictable and inconsistent as well. Our first step in expanding players' choice is removing forced stealth from almost all quest objectives. This doesn't mean that sneaking in no longer a viable or even preferable option in some cases. Rather, if you're caught while sneaking, the objective won't fail and reset you to the last checkpoint. Instead, you'll seamlessly transition into combat. We know many of you enjoy the stealth approach, so it was important for us to preserve that playstyle while also giving you the freedom to decide how to tackle each mission. Ubisoft announced in September that it was working on a series of updates designed to get the game into better shape in time for the holiday season. Now with this, Star Wars Outlaws, they've been updating a lot since it came out back in the end of August, with a lot of updates to the stealth, a lot of updates to just the main mechanics, basically just making it as stable as it possibly can, while also including new content, because there is new content that with Lando Calrissian that they've I think they just put out or is about to put out. Yeah, but this so I wanted to kind of go over a little bit because there is some accessibility updates as well that I should mention. So there are some patch notes. This is from Title Update 1.4.0. I'll have a link to this particular page on in the show notes or in the description, but this labels all of what is currently being changed within the game. I'll go over the notable changes, then I'll go through the accessibility stuff specifically. So notable updates to stealth and combat that allow players greater choice, including using stealth or reaching for their blaster even in syndicate territories and cities. Enemy AI detection improvements, with players being notified when they're being detected, can choose to escalate or change tactics to remain in stealth. Enemy weak points have been added to reward strategic gameplay, which if targeted can trigger explosions or cause enemies to die in spectacular new ways. Retune K's blaster and pick up weapons to improve the combat experience, including being able to carry two-handed weapons in more situations. Facial expressions and animations and dialogue scenes have been improved. The option to toggle off the cinematic lens during gameplay has been added, and the visibility of distant lights has been improved. All right, so let's scroll down to the accessibility, because there's quite a bit of accessibility that's been updated. Added a custom controller preset to allow remapping of individual buttons. You can choose separate sets of button swaps for K, the Speeder, and the Trailblazer. This wasn't in the game initially, but basically for controller, for console, or actually remapping for individual buttons. Yeah, custom controller. Yeah, so this wasn't necessarily a thing you could be able to do And I believe I mentioned that in the review, in my review when or did I do a review of Star Wars Outlaws? I know I did it in one of my videos of Star Wars Outlaws, where I talked about that. It was for PC you could be able to remap, but not for console or using controller. So they finally added that. Added a new strong aim assist setting. I could definitely use that. Basically, it allows you to, like, it does a little bit more. It has a little bit more snappiness when you're trying to be able to aim when the aim assist is on. A little bit more snappiness to try to be able to get to the target enemy. Added a new auto transfer option for climbing, which lets you automatically hop between climbable objects by moving towards them instead of having to press a button. That's great for motor disabilities, similar to how Black Ops 6, where you can basically just, it's kind of intelligent movement, where kind of like auto mentors you and ducks and all that stuff. This is kind of like a similar thing where you don't have to keep hitting X or A every single time in order to be able to jump over certain things or mantle over things. You can do this without pushing a button. There's added a setting to change how large and clear the effect showing the security camera detection is. This basically just makes it a little bit easier to be able to see what the security camera is looking at, or the range of what it's actually scanning, essentially. Sound effect sliders split into 2 separate sliders for gameplay sounds and background sounds. That is very clutch, because it was tied to one's volume slider, and there are definitely times that I wanted to be able to hear more gameplay sounds than necessarily background sounds, specifically for like any particular sound effects in regards to like if I'm hearing a grenade, or if I'm hearing like any like blaster fire, like anything that was specific to me, like especially for stealth, being able to know where everyone is and what they're doing sometimes kind of got blended in with the background sounds, and I'm glad that they're able to you can separate that and kind of increase or decrease the volume as you need it to. Faster menu narration settings now go up to 400% speed. If you think that's way too fast, you've never listened to a blind person using a voiceover or menu narration. Because honestly, here's the thing: whenever a blind person uses like a screen reader, they always have it at a fast speed, or they've gotten to a point where they've used it so much that they can listen to a very fast screen reader, and they're able to like it's like becoming like a power user on your phone. You know how when you use an app and you just know where everything is just instinctually, and you don't have to, you don't have to react to it, or you have to like read something in order to be able to react to something. It's just you just instinctually do it. Same thing with screen readers. Basically, when you use it all the time to navigate, you just become so adept at it, so you just basically increase the speed of it, and your brain is able to process that and comprehend that. So oftentimes, if a game doesn't have a screen reader speed option, it can sound like this to a blind person. So that's why that up to 400 times speed 400% speed is great. Menu narration now reads lockpicking and slicing mini games, objective hints, and which sabacc card is currently highlighted in your hand, and while drawing, discarding. Actually, that last part, the fact that sabacc card, because I did find that the cards were hard for me to read, so I'd always have menu narration turned on, but now that that's actually included, I don't have to like actively focus on the cards. So I'm looking forward to trying out that. Option added to toggle the cinematic lens, distortion, fringing, and vignetting effect off for gameplay. Fill screen is now the default screen ratio, meaning larger text size for the initial menus before you reach the ratio and setting screen. So they have it in the game where basically it's a cinematic lens, where it kind of has like black bars on the top and bottom. That's how the game defaults at the beginning, because it was sort of like kind of creating like that Star Wars cinema movie theater type look to it. But the problem was because at the very beginning of the game, when you're going through the options, it kind of lessens the size of, or lowers the size of the text, and it makes it a little bit harder to be able to see. So now when you jump into those settings menus before you start playing the game for the first time, it'll now fill the screen instead of just the cinematic bars on top and bottom. So then that way you can be able to go in and it'll then change back to cinematic if cinematic lens, if you want to be able to do that. It's actually kind of fun. It's kind of like adds like especially like it's I don't know, I've never seen what it looks like with an ultra wide monitor, but I love to be able to kind of like see what it like kind of looks like. But again, it adds like a cool, like it feels like you're in a Star Wars movie. Remove all hold option for map markers added to change holds to presses setting. Love that, because there's many times there's an objectives I just want to, like, instead of individually having to clear them all, I just remove them all and start from scratch. Be so much easier. Descriptions of accessibility settings reworded for improved clarity. This has always been my biggest problem. I think I've talked about this in my Game Awards video just this week, but essentially a lot of accessibility, it's hard to be able to understand what they are and what they do, especially in settings. Like, it feels like that, like, engineers are the ones who are writing these descriptions for the specific settings, and they're not actively, like, actually explaining what it does or how it can benefit disabled players. I haven't looked at the new improved clarity in this yet, because this patch just came out, but I'm hoping that it's at least a little bit easier for players to understand what it is that setting does, specifically for accessibility, because I feel like that's kind of like where it needs the most clarity, because you need to know whether you need to use it or not. So anyway, that is all of the accessibility updates in the new Star Wars Outlaws patch title update 1.4.0. Again, I'll leave a link to the show notes to be able to look at all the updates on in this patch, and you can be able to take a look for yourself. All right, moving on to the next story. Dragon Age Veilguard and Silent Hill 2 launch sales relatively slow in Europe. This is by Tom Ivan over at VGC. According to GSD data shared by GamesIndustry.biz, Chris Dring, which covers physical sales for major markets and digital sales for most leading publishers, excluding Nintendo and 505 Games, compared with other high-profile RPGs released this year, Dragon Age of Veilguard's sales are tracking 18% below Dragon's Dogma 2 and almost 21% behind PS5 exclusive Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Dring said on Blue Sky. The new Dragon Age title was the 7th best-selling game across Europe in October, one spot behind Silent Hill 2 on the monthly chart. Launch sales for Konami's survival horror remake are 57% lower than Resident Evil 4 remake and 31% behind the Dead Space remake, both of which came out last year. Despite launching on Game Pass for Xbox and PC, the release of Black Ops 6 helped drive a 12.4% rise in game sales across Europe in October. Sales of the new Call of Duty were 5% higher than last year's disappointing Modern Warfare 3 launch, but down 28% compared with 2022's Modern Warfare 2. Sales of the PlayStation version of the game were up 26% compared to Modern Warfare 3 and 2% higher than they were for Modern Warfare 2. Super Mario Party Jamboree debuted at number 5 on the monthly chart. Its launch was down 6% compared to 2021's Mario Party Superstars. So let me actually take a look, see if I can actually be able to find the list itself. Does Chris even have a full-on list? No, it doesn't look like. Okay, so basically, he doesn't have like a top list at all, or like let me just see if there's. Doesn't look like they have it. Okay, so it basically looks like it's just based off of what Chris has been saying on Blue Sky. Let's see. So let's read what he actually said. Sales of games were up 12.4% in October across Europe, driven by Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Black Ops 6 first 2 weeks of sales are up 5% over last year's Modern Warfare 3, which was a disappointing launch, but down 28% over 2022's Modern Warfare 2. But that doesn't tell the whole story. Black Ops 6 was available in Game Pass from launch. Unlike previous Call of Duty games, this has had, as expected, a negative impact on premium sales of the game on Xbox. If we focus purely on PlayStation versions, Black Ops 6 sales were up 26% over Modern Warfare 3 and up 2% over Modern Warfare 2. With Game Pass boosting player counts on Xbox and PC, we should see this to be a strong opening for Call of Duty. Elsewhere, Dragon Ball had its biggest game launch ever, and Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. After 4 weeks, its sales are double the previous fastest selling game, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Super Mario Party Jamboree is at number 5 for Europe in October. Its launch is 6% lower than 2022's Mario Party Superstars. Let's see. Pretty much where I talked about Dragon Age. Yeah, that's pretty much all he's got. All he has said. So it is disappointing that Dragon Age and Silent Hill have not sold. Basically, it's selling well, but it's not like it's definitely soft according to Chris Dring over in Europe. So it's not like it's not selling. It's just that it's not selling well. I know it sounds like I'm trying to put a positive spin on it, and I'm just honestly, I'm just sad. I'm just sad that it because I feel like that they deserve it. Because especially with EA, that I hope that it's enough money that they can be able to keep going and be able to basically can keep improving Dragon Age over time, and then that hopes to be able to keep giving them confidence to be able to make the next Mass Effect even bigger than it was before. That's my hope for EA to like what they're looking at when it comes to sales. But this is also Europe, by the way. This is not necessarily like global sales, so it could have a different sort of outcome when it comes to U.S. or North American sales. But I mean, and also in the other side note, it's great to be able to see Call of Duty Black Ops 6 selling well. It's not. I like it is interesting to see that it's not really selling as well as Modern Warfare 2 back in 2022. We're selling only just marginally better, but I think Chris is right. It's like the new X factor is that it released on Game Pass at the same time, and I think that with it's also like with when it first came out, essentially it drove the largest Game Pass subscription sales than they've ever had. I think that also is going to be taken into account for Microsoft being like, okay, sales numbers may be a bit low, but that makes sense because if people's aren't Game Pass, it kind of compensates out, like it balances itself out. So yeah, again, sad that the both aren't selling well, but it's fine. I think again, I just hope that for the developer's sake, that it's enough sales that they can be able to be like, it's successful, we can be able to continue making more, and it'll keep them going instead of, because again, I think BioWare needs a big win. And I feel like that Dragon Age Veilguard is again that win. It's like I kept saying this before. It's that second, it's the John Wick quote. It's like people keep asking for back. Dragon Age Veilguard is that question, and I'm hoping that whatever the next game is, whether it's the next Mass Effect or even the next Dragon Age game, then that'll answer the question. Yeah, I think we're back, and they can be able to move forward from the struggle that they've had over the past 10 years over at BioWare. All right, moving on. There's these two sort of stories that kind of happen in regards to streaming and handhelds, both for Xbox and PlayStation, that I want to go over. So Tom Ivan over at VGC, Xbox Cloud Gaming now lets players stream select games that they own. 50 titles are currently supported, and the feature is available on PC, phone, tablet, handheld, and most devices with access to a web browser. This includes Samsung Smart TVs, Amazon Fire TV devices, MetaQuest headsets, as well as other browser-supported devices like PC, smartphones, and tablets, Microsoft said on Xbox Wire. More cloud-playable games will be added over time, and support for the feature will come to Xbox consoles and the Xbox app for PC in 2025. Supported titles at launch include Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2027, Modern Warfare 2, Final Fantasy 14, Hogwarts Legacy, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Star Wars Outlaws, and Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. The feature will also works with titles not included with Game Pass Ultimate, is available in all 28 countries where Xbox Cloud Gaming is available. The full lineup of current supported games, and I'm going to go through them all, just so but you could definitely recommend taking a look at the Newswire article, but also from VGC as well. So the list of supported games. So basically what this does is that means if you purchase these games on Xbox, you can then be able to now play these games across cloud gaming, so you don't have to connect to your Xbox in order to be able to play them. It's that whole Xbox Play Anywhere. You could just play them through the cloud. You're not connected. You don't have to worry about your internet connection at home with your Series X or Series S or just Xbox in general. You can be able to play it, and it's using the Xbox's own cloud service. So the games that are supported are Animal Well, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, Balatro, Baldur's Gate 3, Banishers: Ghosts of New Eden, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, The Casting of Frank Stone, Cyberpunk 2077, Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, Dredge, Dying Light 2 Stay Human, Farming Simulator 25, Fear the Spotlight, Final Fantasy 14 Online, Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, Hades, Harry Potter Quidditch Champions, High on Life, Hitman World of Assassination, Hogwarts Legacy, House Flipper 2, Kenna Bridge of Spirits, Lego Harry Potter Collection, Life is Strange Double Exposure, Metro Exodus, Mortal Kombat 1, NBA 2K25, PGA Tour 2K23, Phasmophobia, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Rust Console Edition, 7 Days to Die, Star Wars Outlaws, Stray, The Crew Motorfest, The Outlast Trials, The Plucky Squire, The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt, Tom Clancy's Division 2, Topspin 2K25, Undertale, Visions of Mana, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2, and WWE 2K24. Whoo! That's a mouthful in and of itself. So yes, if you are interested, or if you have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and you have the ability to be able to stream on the cloud, if you own any of those games on Xbox, which I actually own quite a few of those, or purchased quite a few of those, I now can be able to play them without having to connect to my Xbox at home, or remote play to my Xbox at home. That is huge. Now, jumping to the PlayStation side of things, they have a sort of similar thing. Not necessarily purchase games, but I'll explain. This coming also from Jordan Miller at VGC. PlayStation Portal is getting cloud streaming today. This is as of yesterday, or 2 days ago. I skipped this because I felt that the Game Awards stuff was more important. The streaming service will allow PlayStation Plus premium members to play a selection of 125 PS5 games, including Dave the Diver, Ghost of Tsushima, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, Monster Hunter Rise, and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. The streaming games playable on PS Portal are limited to PlayStation 5 games, with PS3 and PS4 games are not currently supported. It's not clear if this will change when the feature comes out out of its beta test period and gets a full release. Games will be streamed in 1080p and 60 FPS and will include all DualSense wireless controller features, including haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, and speakers and touchpad emulated on the touch screen for PS Portal. The beta is available today to PlayStation Plus premium members in a bunch of countries, including Canada and the United States and the UK. PlayStation has also confirmed that features like game trials, streaming games purchased on PS Store, system features such as party, voice chat, and game invites for select games, create button, 3D audio, and in-game commerce won't be available as part of the beta, but are planned for full release. Okay, so let's take a look at this article from the PlayStation blog, just to kind of get a bit of clarity for it. Trying to jump to this. Oh, I see. It's a PlayStation Plus game strat. Okay. It's 120. Okay, so yeah. Actually, it is kind of somewhat similar to how Xbox is doing it, but instead of like its purchase games, it is in the PlayStation Plus game catalog, which is basically games that have been available on PlayStation Plus, like as the free games to be able to download. But you have to be a PlayStation Plus premium member in order to be able to get access to cloud streaming. And they don't have a list, or do they have a full list of the games? Here it just does not say. It just basically says 120 games. So this is, yeah, stream select PS5 games in the PlayStation Plus game catalog. Over 120 PS games or PS5 games from the PS Plus game catalog, including Dave the Diver, Ghost of Tsushima, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, Monster Hunter Rise, and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart will be accessible on PS Portal via cloud streaming. This is huge for basically folks that do own a PlayStation Portal, which I am one. Being able to, if you have a PlayStation Plus premium account, being able to play games that you may not have had a chance to jump in yet, being able to cloud stream them to your portal, that is actually pretty huge. So again, it's that you don't have to remote app into your PS5. You can actually be able to just play this on your PlayStation Portal. It's connected to the cloud services through PlayStation. This is so it's, instead of just purchase games, it's just any game that's in the PlayStation Plus catalog, but you have to have a PS Plus premium membership in order to be able to get it. Actually, I'm going to take a look and see how much a PlayStation Premium Plus premium subscription price. Let me just see what that is. So PlayStation Plus, looking through, I'm loading up now. Let's see. course, it doesn't say the cost on the PlayStation website, which I feel like it should. This is Business Insider, so but I don't know how old this is. The standard price for premium is $159.99 a year. Ugh. I mean, that's current. That was what it was. I think it launched at. Let me just jump back to the PlayStation website and see what the premium is. So the premium has a whole bunch of stuff. So let's add it to cart. I hate that it sort of does that, but it's whatever. I think now it's just wait. Now it just jumped me to a page about updates and stuff. Premium, PlayStation Plus Premium. Okay. So 12-month subscription, and this is for Canadian, $189.99 for a 12-month subscription. It's for 1 month. It's basically pay every month. It's $22 Canadian for just the premium. So that is a lot, especially if you already like. This is, I think, that, again, this is not necessarily for the beginning fans or those just getting into PlayStation. I think this is specifically for those who are already in the ecosystem that own a PlayStation Portal, which not a huge amount of PlayStation 5 users use, but I personally have one because like. For me, it would like the reason why I justify using it is that, and it has helped me in the past, that how I was able to review all of Astrobot was because I had to go home to my family for the weekend, the weekend that I had to review Astrobot, and I couldn't be able to bring my PlayStation 5 at home, and my brother-in-law didn't have a PlayStation 5 at the time, and so I brought over my PlayStation Portal, and I was able to connect to my PS5 at home and able to play it. So it allows me to be able to review games if I'm on the go and I can't bring my PS5 with me. Excuse me. This is huge, and I feel like actually I do like the feel of actually it's in the room, but I love the feel of the PS Portal. I do wish you could be able to download games to it, but in order to be able to kind of keep the slimness of it and still have the weight of what it feels like, the weight of a DualSense controller, I think it's kind of a good size. For me personally, though, for any handhelds, I like the idea of downloading games to it because there's nothing worse than being able to have a bad internet connection, and I just want to play a game, and I don't want it to be low quality. I just want to be able to play it, and so being able to download games is essential for me, especially because I travel, I'm on a plane, or I'm on hotel Wi-Fi that's not super great. Again, it's just it limits me from being able to play these kind of games, especially if it's just an online only device. But that being said, I think this is huge. I think the kind of going into now seeing Xbox's and PlayStation's strategy when it comes to streaming games or on handhelds, and just cloud streaming in general. This is essentially what the PS Vita. I think the PS Vita was right device, wrong time, because that was the initial idea of the PS Vita, was that you could be able to connect. You could be able to like play a game on your PS3 at home, and then you'd be able to pick up your PS Vita on, and you could be able to play it on the go, and pick up exactly where you left off from the PS3. Like, it was kind of that you could play anywhere, like as you needed. Now, granted, at the time there was no cloud streaming, so it wasn't like it could be able to do that. But the PS Vita was essentially that idea. Like it just with the technology that was available at that time. Now that cloud streaming is kind of is something that PlayStation's now adopting, Xbox has been always pushing forward for that. I think this is huge for the industry. I think being able to play games on the go, play games wherever you're at, on a phone, on a tablet, on a laptop, on a TV, on a console, I think it opens up, gives us more access to games. It's not a locked into a needs to be sitting on the couch or sitting in my office here to be able to play games. I can play games in my living room. I can play games at home. I can play games or with my family. I can play games anywhere I want to, because that's the barrier to entry. It's that I just want to be able to play games wherever. Like, why do I need like a separate device? Yeah, it's how the industry has been for a while, but I think that Xbox has been pushing that forward. It's like, just play anywhere. Like this is an Xbox, this is not an Xbox kind of campaign is kind of genius, because it's just basically saying, hey, you can play Xbox from wherever. And I think it's like, that's been the thing that not a lot of people like outside of the industry have been able to understand, because if like, I've been able to tell people, being like, hey, you can play Xbox games on your phone. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's through the cloud streaming. You can be able to play them. And they're so surprised. It's like, it's kind of like, it's part of it's like, it's the future that they didn't know was promised to them, that they didn't realize was available to them. So I think that now that PlayStation's jumping into that market a little bit more, it's not really as restrictive, other than needing a premium subscription, which is the highest end subscription you need. So essentially you're having to be able to have a PlayStation Portal, but you also kind of need a PS5 in order to be able to connect to it, because you can be able to play your other games from home. But if you want to be able to get a PS Portal and then get a premium subscription, I mean, it's going to be definitely not a cheap endeavor, but it is something that if you want to be able to play PS5 games, but just on the go, and you have a good, decent internet connection, PS Portal might be it. And that's great. I think that's awesome. I think that, again, it just gives players more choice of where they can play. And as streaming is becoming a lot more viable, and there's not that much lag as much as it used to, and you can be able to stream it at 1080p and 60 frames per second. That's basically the console experience, just now streaming. And I'm not to say that like streaming is the be all end all. I still think that there's a place, again, like I said, for like, I like downloaded games, be able to download onto a handheld. I also like the idea of still physical games. I am a big proponent for game preservation, like I said. So we need to be able to not just sort of only stream games going forward in the future. But again, it's that giving that player that choice. You could stream it, you could buy a physical version of it, or you can be able to download it. I think having that as options, it just makes it like, it goes to the players where they're at, instead of just deciding for the player what they should do. I think it's great. I think that's awesome. All right, I think that's kind of where I'm going to end it today. Wow, it's already 32 minutes, man. I've gone through a lot of news stories today in 30 minutes. So thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments about any of the news stories we talked about today, please leave them in the comments down below. If you want to be able to get the exclusive audio version of this show, go to patreon.com/SteveSaylor, become a paid member, and you can be able to get this sent to any podcast player of your choice. Thanks again. Hope you have a great and wonderful day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.